I want to give you a rundown on Eric Meyer. He saw a void in the restaurant market, and in his bio here, I want to just give you, he brought in this convenient all-natural food. I have the all-natural beef burger, fantastic, with some jalapenos. Since opening in 2010, Yeah Burger has grown to 2 stores in Atlanta and has been named Best Burgers by Atlanta Magazine. And previously, Meyer was the CEO and co-founder of Frequency Media, which is an Atlanta-based radio airplay information company, which is acquired by the American Society of Composers. Prior also to launching Yeah Burger, Meyer was the senior director of music at Amped Mobile in LA, and he graduated with magna cum laude from the University of Notre Dame and enjoys music, fitness, travel, and of course, great food. We have a lot in common. So welcome, Eric Meyer.
Thank you.
I want to introduce you to Dana Spinola, who is the CEO and founder of Fabric Boutiques, which has really taken off. Have any of you guys been to Fabric? You like it? So here is the rundown. Basically, her concept of clothing is under $100, but priceless first-class customer service. And she has over 8 franchise locations and many in the works right now. She also founded a nonprofit organization called Free Fabric that provides free shopping sprees for teens in need. And also, I want to mention that she has, with all the girls' organizations, she has supported and volunteers that have donated more than 1,000 bags of clothing. So good for you. That's fantastic. And the other thing in her bio, one of the most challenging things, is being a mother of 3 boys under 5 years old.
Harder than any of the rest of the stuff. I'm not speaking to that, Sammy.
Next, we have Tom Klein, who's a Chief Executive Officer and founder of Digital Scientist, enjoys blogging, and he writes regularly about creating in-store intelligence at his blog, Thomas A. Klein. He is an authority on in-store customer engagement, e-commerce, mobile applications, and brand strategy, and he has managed or consulted to some of the world's best-known brands. Look at this lineup: Office Depot, Tory Burch, Yahoo, Chanel, Heineken, Intuit, Ocean Spray, Merrill Lynch, Medtronic, HGTV, and Thomson Reuters. He also has an MBA in marketing from the Wharton School and a master's in international studies from the University of Pennsylvania. So let's give it up for Tom Klein. And now we want to begin our panel here. Questions. I'll kind of kick things off. You guys also feel free to chime in with any questions that you may have. But first, this is a question that is important to every single entrepreneur out there. Is having more capital one of the most important aspects of any business venture? What is the key to raising capital for new entrepreneurs? We'll start with you.
So, for me, there's a number of things that I think are important. I think that, first of all, passion for your business. You really need to sell your business. People, I think it's easier to start a business than it is and raise capital than it is. And raising capital is the hardest part of the business. That's been the hardest part so far for Yeah Burger, because before Yeah Burger started, we had to convince people that Yeah Burger needed to exist in a city that had a lot of burger options already. And we successfully did that. And, going forward, we need to show that we could take our model like Dana has and take it to other markets. And then once you start doing that for retail, that's you're kind of on the right path there. But be passionate. Explain to your potential investor how your product or service or your brand is going to be differentiated in the marketplace. I think that's what led to our funding success, was articulating how we were going to be different. And I would also be very clear when you're raising money about what is the term of the investment, what is the potential return for your investors. Don't try to hide anything from anyone. You need to be very transparent about why you're asking for the money. What is your use of funds? How long will this money last until you need to raise your next round of capital? And, if you hit on all these points and really let your enthusiasm come through for your idea, And you can also articulate how you're going to bring it to market. You know, that's another important thing. You might have the idea, but who else is with you, and how are you going to go about building this team that's going to need to do all these different things to get this to market and then sell it after that. So,
great answer, definitely. Dan, do you have anything to add on top of that? I mean, what were some of the challenges that you had in raising capital?
Well, I will say that I think that's great advice. I think one step before was to know yourself, and I know that I couldn't give any of my business away, so I never raised any capital. So what I did is I started super, super, super small and didn't expand until my store made enough money for my second, then my third, then my fourth, then my fifth. So I, as my banker tells me, invested in myself. So I've never gone outside. I think it's a great option for a lot of companies that have a plan that they want to grow very quickly, very fast. But for me, what I did is I really just perfected my first model. I actually don't know if I believed in myself enough in the beginning to have someone to answer those questions, because you're answering tough questions to them. How are you bringing it to market? What team's going to support this? So I kind of did it myself, and people that have tried to buy in the years, I've just personally known myself to know that I'm a control freak, and I want to do it myself. So I think it's also important to know that side of the investment portion, that when you have investors, a lot of times you're also giving up a portion of your business. So 99% of my friends, that's how they run their business. So make sure that you're kind of aware with what you're going to be giving away when you actually do have an investor that gives you capital, because they're not just giving you capital because they think you're a really nice person.
I would agree with that, actually. This is my second business that I started. In my first business, we self-funded for a very long period of time through, savings, 401ks, through
eating macaroni and cheese
every
night.
And there's definitely one thing that investors don't like seeing, and that's their money going out the door into your pocket. So the biggest thing that I dealt with was, sacrifice. How do you need to work 2 or 3 jobs on the side while you're starting your business, and you need to have that cash flow to pay your rent. So it's important to be as lean as possible and show that your money is really going into the business, as opposed to, getting you a nice salary in the beginning. And then after you prove yourself, your investors should be willing to reward you for that. Yeah.
Tom, what was your strategy for raising capital?
I probably have a more interesting perspective on, because we're sort of a hired gun in some of these circumstances for either large businesses, but we also work with startups. And for the startups, I mean, I've been sort of on the sidelines where we have created, everybody's app crazy these days, so created an app, right? Since the beginning of when apps were possible. And the thing that I've noticed is that a lot of times people think they only need funding to build something. And, you've really just begun once you have created the something. And we've got plenty of stories where the entrepreneur actually has not funded it enough and doesn't realize that, it's getting the people to your door is where all the money's going to go, right? And so you can spend X to build whatever the app is or whatever make your idea a reality, but you might need 10X to get enough people to show up and buy it. And I just see it, I've seen it many, many times. And people get very sort of in love with their idea, and they're kind of, they build the thing and then it dies because they've run out of money. And it's an unhappy sort of occurrence.